So what happened in that particular incident was that edum na backyard na-ege olu my dad with oparea. So it didn't sound like a normal conversation. It sounded like a heated argument. So I stood up, trying to go inside to go and observe what was going on. So on this process, I met them at the middle of the corridor. So this corridor, the back door, yeah, hold to the backyard. So I met them there. So it was like my dad was trying to prevent Mike from leaving. So it seems like they were discussing something, and Mike tried to walk out of my dad. So my dad didn't actually sonea. Be block na that backyard door. So I stood there and then listening to my father. My dad was lamenting and pointing to his chest, to the chest in Mike, for the singlet OE, which was stained with drips of blood. So I saw it quite all right, and myself, honestly, I was not happy seeing that, because I know what that blood stood for, because it's not as a result of Ekekwa Odarata Merua or anything like that. But I managed to keep calm, to understand the dynamics of what was actually going on that particular incident. So somebody might want to think that this guy, I just not here, Ikuga, here and there. I'm talking up and down. There was a time that I don't normally speak, I don't normally talk. My dad also was like that. My dad doesn't talk, except that in very serious cases, then you see my dad begin to complain and begin to lament about certain things. And I think I'm also like that. So I stood there trying to watch them, and actually I became angry. I became like, why is he going to struggle with my dad? If my dad is trying to do some things, he should come down and try to persuade our dad to be peaceful instead of trying to struggle with our dad. So Shiadi Amama Mongonike grew at a stage where Mike will now decide to give our dad a push. Push where Yadanala. So I stood there to see that happen, because actually I became upset. If that happened, probably me and Mike would have been able to fall out. So Chukwemekwanebere, that kind of thing did not happen. So Mike gently allowed our father to mazuchaya na hapukwania. So yagarakwano for. So immediately Rojiri for my dad he turned back and then went back to his parlor and sat down there. But I know my dad was very bitter and angry. So after a few hours, my dad called me and then began to talk to me, and then begin to narrate the story about his life, how he has wanted to be a man of God, and then how he had decided to get married as the wish of his own mother. Chineke Goziekwane, a woman who was also a lonely daughter, because himself as a lonely son. So So because of his own connection, Otiajiri did devoted to God. Immediately eji mụọ Kembosu, ya kpọ ya Chukwuemeka, mụọ ka abụọ ya kpọ ya Chukwudi, Chinedu, Chinwendu, Chiadogu, Chijioke. So were na ụmụ ya chi were ji kpama Chineke n'aka as a dedication unto God. That he handed Omega now things that he feel betrayed by certain things that is happening among his children. So Papa Mekucha, I just calm my father down. I didn't want to say anything to upset him more, and there was nothing to say actually. So he enjoyed him now kam kowa ruala, because hike on, because like as I said, my dad doesn't stand outside in the middle of the compound and begin to shout for people to hear his voice. And many of the time that is myself I have not, up till now, I have not been able to, people might even be wondering when these things were happening, why is it that these things have become things that nobody knew about? Because I don't normally speak up. I have from Mike, it is your life, do what you want with it. So ha na-apịtọ na ha apịtọga ihe ndị draiva ya a na-akwọrọ ụmụnne ya kpa ami ụmụnne ya ndị ke okwu dabakwa na yila nwụọ because myself Abraham tam n'ihi na gịnị okwu adabagaghị na mụ na ha spirit nke m dịkwa stronger they couldn't manipulate my own spirit to be able to agree with their own satanic intentions. So ha na-akwa na akpọrọ nwụọ ha na-eje ebe ha jega ebe Anambra hijecha ha lụhụ egbicha ha igbele anwụ n'ahụ. But then nke Mike ahụ it appears due to the fact that the blood was still fresh on that singlet. Like as I said, o nwere ike wụrụ that na the dibia ogbila ọmakịrị ya razor blade on his chest. Ikekwa the dibia nọ within ụmụagangwuru makwa na ọ nọ ọbakara the person na abịa there. Ikekwa nwere mgbe ụfọdụ eji ha eji somebody eji moto across somebody abịa akwọbara ya ya dịghị onye ọbịa ya bịa mee awụ ihe nga ya bịa lema ndị ahụ guest ya. So ụfọdụ ime ha nwere ike wụrụ ndị dibia, but I know I have observed in some of the occasions ebe shrine ya nọ ebe ọ gaa his own shrine ha eje dị a ha limacha ma hụ that na ejighị padlock kwuda gbachie ya lime ya n'ime ala. So ya dị ihe ejighị emeka ha all those kind of a thing, I don't know, but actually all kind of things was actually going on around my father's children, which myself I was not in agreement with. But then I'm not here to make judgment. At that time I wouldn't judge anybody, but now that I am being judged, so it is right time for me to begin to speak up in condemnation of things that happened yesterday, which I already have written down, which has now begun to be part of the content of my own diaries. So more no here I am now struggle to be able to continue speaking up in order to exonerate myself from all the fetish things and all the rubbish things that is going on in my father's house among his children. Akamaku ya onwedi ho ya ru that na ihiti mema anwuchaga I want to walk free dey go make you to afim bara auto make bara ohoro na breeze. And with him I don't have any scar of razor marks on my chest or at my back. But for Mike onwe na ogbila n'obi ya, as far as I'm more concerned, and with the way I saw my father being bitter and the way my father spoke, in condemnation of what Mike has done, the scars of those razor blade in Anobi will forever remain as a symbol of his own rebellion against the wish of our father. Because I know that my dad wasn't happy about those things at all. And we are not supposed to disrespect our parents in any way. Because I that to the extent that many things was happening and Mike was not even caring. He was acting with impunity. Onye ga-awụ ejechara ụdị ihe dota ahụ ya chọrọ na uwe ya ga-eshow the blood stain, but he was doing it like onweghị papa anyị pụrụ imeni, onweghị mama anyị pụrụ imeni. Nobody can be able to challenge him. But as far as I know, it will remain a symbol because the scars of those razor marks will never disappear. Ya nwee ike ịkọrọ ụmụ ya ya gwa nwe eziokwu ha mara shi yes, this is the truth about how our father got all these scars. It will remain there forever, and it will be like a mark of his own rebellion against whatever the foundation of Christianity which our father has struggled to lay for his own personal family, which he is now feeling disappointed. My dad, as far as I know, Papa did not die as a happy man. My dad died as a sorrowful man. I will go into those instances and continue to be able to convince or begin to read out from the content of my diaries. My own daddy's mind. I will expose my my daddy's mind and his opinion, things my father said to me that now prove that the condition my daddy died, was he a happy man before he died, or was he died as a sorrowful man, which I will now begin to speak up. But I can confidently by anybody, yes, Papa Joseph Nana did not die as a happy man. He was so depressed, he was so sad, things was not going on very well in his family according to the way of God. Thank you for listening.